on regionalization of power grids, supporting our friends of the Yukon, our trade partners next door in Alberta, around clean, reliable, cheap electricity, and that work across the country is crucial to our future. Finally, Ian, to your question, this is a country my grandparents fought for, that many people before them helped to build. It's made up of First Nations who have been here since time immemorial, as well as immigrants who just got off the airplane today with hearts full of hope of their new adopted country. This is a country we have to fight for, and there are lots of people who would like to take it from us. We need to express in this moment, especially when the country faces such a profound threat, we need to express that we will fight for this country, that we'll stand up for it, and that those who don't wish to, those who would solicit a foreign government to try to come in and take over our country or break it up, that's not part of our vision for Canada. That's not Canadian conduct, and in fact, that is, I described it as an old-fashioned word because we haven't had to use it for a long time. In my opinion, that is treasonous activity, and it needs to be called out. It needs to be stopped. Now, I'm not talking about debates that we have inside the country among Canadians about how we order ourselves, our relationships between the federal government and the provinces, referenda that might be held. I'm talking about crossing the border, soliciting the assistance of a foreign government to break up this country, and I don't think we should stand for it.
Premier Smith, do you have
I think it goes automatically.
Oh, it goes on automatically when I speak? It's working? Oh, okay, it works. Well, let me just support Premier Eby and his comments about C-14. We think that's very important to get past. We've also, when he called for the Lawrence Bishnois gang to be declared a terrorist group, we also agreed to that. I'm glad he's open to expanding the interties. We look forward to selling him some more excess solar and wind power. And as you can see, we've got lots of things that we can work on together. I've always been clear that me and our United Conservative Caucus are supportive of a strong and sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. That is one of the bills that we passed when I first came in. But I think we also have to be realistic that 10 years under Justin Trudeau's government, our province was relentlessly attacked. Our economy was relentlessly attacked, not only for our economy, but our provincial rights and also our personal freedoms and our way of life. And so when you look at the polls, they suggest as many as 30% of Albertans have lost hope. That's about 1 million people. And I'm not going to demonize or marginalize a million of my fellow citizens when they've got legitimate grievances. What we need to do is we need to give Albertans hope. We need to show them, not just tell them, not just words, but with actions, that Canada can work. And that's what I've been doing. That's why I signed an agreement with the Prime Minister in November so that we could work in common cause on correcting some of the mistakes, I would say, of the Trudeau government. And it's why we participate in these kinds of First Ministers' conferences, so that we can find the things that we agree on and work together for that, for the betterment of the country. And I think this is a very powerful table that has been able to do that for the last 3 years that I've been on it. And I'm honored and delighted to be here.
something else? Would Canada agree to an increased external trade policy agreement alignment with the U.S. as part of changes to USMCA, including on China? And what about a customs union?
Well, I find one of the most effective ways to negotiate is not to negotiate in public, so we'll wait till we have the broader discussions with the United States as part of a review, not a renegotiation, but a review of CUSMA. Thank you.
Next question, Mark.
Mark Ramsey with the Toronto Star. Prime Minister, what do you make of the Trump administration's meetings with Alberta separatists and the comments of Secretary Bessent? Is this foreign interference from the U.S.?
You know, the governments that are going to make a difference to Canada, to Alberta, to Canada, are at this table, I guess alongside with municipalities and working with our Indigenous partners. And the focus of the meeting last night, today, the meeting of the Council of Federation before that, was how we come together and build. How we build a better country, how we build safer communities. A number of specific points were just referenced by Premiers Eby and Smith from addressing extortion, crime in the community. I know Premier Ford and I have been very focused on this as well, as we have across the country. I appreciate the support of the premiers, all the premiers for Bill C-14. It's part of a bigger picture of measures that need to be taken. And just the power, I'm going to stop on this, just the sheer power of what we're starting to do and intend to do on the energy side, being stronger together, linking together our systems, doubling the size of our electricity grid, extending our clean energy advantage, doing it in a way that's affordable for Canadians, using all our sources of energy to build this economy to all markets around the world. Makes this country stronger and makes those conversations less relevant.
With respect, Prime Minister, if you could answer the question on how you view the actions of the U.S. administration here. But for my second question, for Premier Smith, Premier Ford called on you this morning to denounce the separatist movement. I understand you said you don't want to demonize anyone, but they are seeking the help of the United States government. So what's your response to that? And Prime Minister, if you could please answer the question.
Well, I would expect that the U.S. administration would respect Canadian sovereignty and that they would confine their discussion about Alberta's democratic process to Albertans and to Canadians. And I will raise that with my delegate in Washington so he can raise it with members of the administration. And I will raise it with my delegate in Ottawa so he can raise it with the U.S. ambassador.
I fully associate myself with Premier Smith's comments just then. We expect the U.S. administration to respect Canadian sovereignty. I'm always clear in my conversation with President Trump to that effect, and then move on to what we can do together. Thank you.
Next question.
J'attends à ce que l'administration américaine respecte la souveraineté du Canada tout le temps, sans exception. Et quand j'ai eu des conversations avec le président des États-Unis, je fais le point final et nous continuons à discuter comment nous pouvons travailler ensemble. Merci.
Next question. Mackenzie.
Hi, Prime Minister. Mackenzie Gray with Global News. I'm happy you brought up your conversations with the President. I'd like to ask, in those conversations, has he ever raised the prospect of Alberta or Quebec separation?
No.
Have you raised concerns about the administration's comments, Mr. Besson's comments, as well as these meetings, with anyone from the Trump administration?
There are channels to raise those concerns. I haven't I mean, these comments are within the past 24, 48 hours. I don't have a running commentary on everything the administration does. I stand by what I just said about respecting our sovereignty, our expectations of the U.S. administration, and the clarity with which I've always expressed that directly to the President.
Question, question. Mike.
Prime Minister Mike Lukather with CTV News. I want to ask you and Premier Smith about this. Does a new pipeline through BC have to go to the northwest coast?
Under the, I'll begin, and then Premier, under the Memorandum of Understanding, which I will reemphasize, as I'm sure the Premier, I'll save the Premier having to do this, but I will reemphasize, has many aspects to it. From cooperation on data centers, cooperation on nuclear power, cooperation on interties, cooperation more broadly, and on creating a whole new industry, if you will, in carbon capture and storage and beyond, has all those aspects. Some of those aspects, as we discussed with Premier Eby, but it was a much broader discussion, areas of cooperation between Alberta, British Columbia, the federal government on many aspects. With respect to a route, and under the MOU, a bitumen pipeline to Asian markets is the way it's described, and therefore the specific routes are not outlined. Of course, work is being done to explore the feasibility of various routes, and there are many factors that affect the feasibility, starting with Indigenous support, as well as technical and economic considerations. So, Premier, I'll pass.
I would say that when we look at the impact of the Trans Mountain Pipeline, It has narrowed the differential, which increases revenues not only for us, but also for the federal government because they get corporate income taxes and, of course, all the personal income taxes that come from the workers who have jobs as a result of that extra production. When we began with Trans Mountain, I think the expectation was most of it would go to the United States. In fact, 90% is now going to Asia. And there's, when I've made trade visits and talked with delegates from Asia, they say send us more. And so if the pipeline is already at capacity, I'm grateful that Premier Eby has spoken about expanding the Trans Mountain pipeline. I think that if we could move at pace on that, I think that would be one of the pressure release valves. But for sure, there is an open and robust market waiting for more Canadian energy. I can tell you I heard the concerns about the original routing of Northern Gateway to Kitimat, and Kitimat is not on the table as one of the ports that we're looking at. There's just too many channels that have to be navigated. It's too complex. But we are looking for a deep water port that does not require a lot of additional navigation. We're certainly talking about marine response if there was ever an issue, and being able to develop new jobs for Indigenous communities when it comes to the tug operations that will navigate them out to open sea. Not only that, but also the potential for a large ownership stake of Indigenous nations in both British Columbia and Alberta. So we are doing our work to put the project together by June, and we are hoping that the federal government can move swiftly on making a decision so we can get down to technical details on that. And I'm very confident that once approved, we will have one or more strong proponents in the private sector willing to work with us to build it.
So just to be clear, Premier Smith, as a follow-up, does that mean that it does not necessarily have to go that route? And if Premier Eby would like to weigh in as well.
Well, think about the alternatives, I guess. And some of the alternatives are already emerging. Enbridge is expanding its main line, 400,000 barrels. You've got South Bow, which is looking at the old Keystone assets and partnering with an American company to build something in the order of 500,000 or more. There are other projects about moving more to the United States, but I think it kind of misses the point of the exercise. I mean, yeah, I suppose we could sell more to the United States, but why we're all here is we're trying to find a way to trade with each other and help each other and find new markets. The Prime Minister has said, let's try to double our foreign exports. And yes, we're going to continue to work with the Americans and continue to find ways to expand our production. But to find new markets, you have to go through different routes. So that's one. There's also a very interesting potential proposal for oil by rail that would go off the East Coast that we're looking at as well, and that would give us access to European markets. My view, and I know that Premier Canoe would love to talk about Churchill. I won't steal any of his thunder. I hope you do a follow-up on that. But I'd be very interested in talking to him and the Indigenous corporation he created about whether there's an opportunity out of Churchill as well. So my view is north. Oh, and I actually talked to Premier Simpson about the potential to go up north also. So north, south, east, west, we're willing to go in every direction.
Thanks. Premier Smith is committed to keeping us updated on her progress, and look forward to that. Thanks.
Prochaine question, Mylène.
Bonjour, Mylène Crête de la presse. Ma question est pour M. Carney. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez des propos de M. Ford sur l'élection d'un parti québécois? Est-ce que vous considérez, vous aussi, que ce serait un désastre?
Bon. La prochaine élection au Québec sera en octobre, je crois. Il y a 9 mois, il y a plusieurs partis. Il y aura des nouveaux chefs des partis. On verra. Ce sera la décision des Québécois et des Québécoises. Ça, c'est le système.
Follow-up.
J'aimerais vous poser la même question, M. Legault. Vous avez fait partie d'un gouvernement du Parti québécois. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de l'élection d'un gouvernement dirigé par Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon? Est-ce que ce serait, selon vous, un désastre? Et considérez-vous le fait que des séparatistes de l'Alberta soient allés aux États-Unis discuter avec des membres de l'administration Trump? Considérez-vous ça, vous aussi, comme un acte de trahison?
Bon. D'abord, je pense... D'abord, je pense que c'est aux Québécois, puis seulement aux Québécois, de décider de l'avenir du Québec. Donc, pour cette raison-là, je ne répondrai pas à votre question sur ce qui se passe en Alberta, mais je veux quand même vous dire là, qu'actuellement, il y a une majorité de Québécois qui ne veulent pas de la souveraineté du Québec Et il y a une majorité encore plus grande de Québécois qui ne veulent pas de référendum sur la souveraineté du Québec. On le sait, un référendum sur la souveraineté du Québec, même avant que ça se passe, amènerait de l'incertitude économique. Ça veut dire moins d'investissement des entreprises. Tout ça pour, en bout de ligne, avoir un non, puisqu'il y a une majorité de Québécois qui sont contre la souveraineté du Québec. Donc, mais c'est aux Québécois de décider, seulement aux Québécois de décider.
We'll have time for one last question. Dernière question, Michel.
Michel Sabat, la presse canadienne. Bonjour à tous. Monsieur Legault, je viens d'entendre vos propos, je vais faire du chemin là-dessus. Avez-vous demandé à Monsieur Ford et même aux autres premiers ministres de se mêler de leurs affaires sur le sujet de la souveraineté du Québec?
Ben, j'ai été plus poli que ça, mais j'ai quand même dit au premier ministre des différentes provinces et territoires que c'était pas une bonne idée, que c'est aux Québécois de décider, puis que les Québécois n'aiment pas, que ce soit M. Trump ou M. Carney ou M. Ford ou peu importe, les gens qui sont de l'extérieur du Québec, c'est aux Québécois de décider de l'avenir du Québec.
Last follow-up.
Et M. Carney, avez-vous l'impression, comme dit M. Saint-Pierre Plamondon, qu'un vent de panique souffle au Canada vu l'importance du Parti québécois dans les intentions de vote?
Non, pas du tout. Ça n'existe pas.
Qu'est-ce qui existe
Nous sommes une démocratie. Il y a des élections, des décisions, comme M. Legault vient de dire. Le prochain gouvernement du Québec va être décidé par les électeurs québécois. C'est clair. On travaille. OK. Au fond, quel est le message d'aujourd'hui? C'est un message d'une équipe. Le premier ministre du Québec, le premier ministre d'Ontario, tous les premiers ministres, le premier ministre du Canada. Nous travaillons ensemble afin de bâtir des provinces, des territoires, un pays plus fort, plus résilient, plus indépendant, plus prospère, plus durable. Ça, c'est le message. C'est pas... Et ça, c'est bien plus important que des phrases ou des phrases, de quelques mots des politiciens, n'importe quel politicien.
Merci.
Et si
C'est
je
ce qui me fait
pourrais
notre conférence.
ajouter,
Sorry, go
juste
ahead.
vitement, je pense que c'est important dans le reste du Canada de partager avec le Québec que la fête francophone, ça existe au Ouest aussi.
Oui.
Et ça existe tout partout dans le pays. Alors, oui, ton élection, c'est à vous, c'est très important, mais en même temps, tu es accueilli au Manitoba, à l'ouest du Canada, au nord. Alors, quand on parle d'un Canada uni, on devrait se parler, oui, le Québec, c'est central, c'est très important, ça a beaucoup de pouvoir pour la francophonie mondiale, mais ça existe aussi tout partout dans le Canada, et on devrait travailler ensemble. So just to reiterate the message of unity, and thanks for the setup also, Premier Smith. We had a great day today with the Prime Minister. We had some very specific asks on the Churchill project, a lot of exciting developments with the Major Projects Office, with a major energy company kicking the tires on that, and the possibility of getting to Asian markets via the Suez Canal is very exciting. And I want to say thanks to the Prime Minister publicly, because we had a few kind of very specific asks about moving some paperwork along, finding some resources for our Indigenous governments in Manitoba on the First Nations and Métis side to be able to participate in the Crown Indigenous Corporation that we're going to use to commercialize this thing. And I think now is a time where you're seeing creativity and you're seeing collaboration and you're seeing working together, whether it's across provinces and territories, federal, provincial, Indigenous, provincial, Indigenous, federal, municipal. Everybody's working together because we love this country so much. And I love the fact that we come out here at every press conference, and there's always, trying to find the divisions and trying to find the things that we're not united on. They want there to be a heated rivalry between Doug Ford and I, but we're on the same team.
I want you to
We're going into the corners together.
I want you to just
right?
take
We're
that
fighting
image,
for Team Canada.
the heated rivalry between Doug Ford and Wild Canoe.
And we're on the same team as well, Mr. Prime Minister. So if you want to lace up the skates, we're going up to Churchill next week, and you're more than welcome to join us as we build up this country, the true north, strong and free.
Thank you, Premiers. This puts an end to our press conference. C'est ce qui va faire la conférence de presse.
There's no topping Premier Canoe. I think c'est un bon moment de conclure la conférence de presse. Merci
Thank
tout le
you.
monde. Merci d'être venu.
This puts an end to our press
Merci les
conference.
autres.
Merci.